Don't vote in a state where you're not eligible. Well, if it's illegal, you shouldn't. It's just a nice little public service message. I don't know what's so scary about that.
His grandson Jason had said that Carter couldn't wait to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Have gone through disaster scenario trainings with our county election officials and have response plans in place.
The League of Women Voters are not happy. Some people on their staff got some text messages and they wrote a nasty letter. Man, they sent this one off to Attorney General Merrick, Garland, the Honorable AG of the United States, from the League of Women Voters, who have been responsible for filing lawsuits in various locations in conjunction with the Democratic Party. And if you go to their website, as we've done before, they're exactly what you'd expect them to be. So they sent this letter. They said, "I can't believe you're texting our staff. This is offensive. Don't ever talk to me and text me again." They said, "We are sending this letter, Merrick, on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin. Last week, thousands of young voters across Wisconsin received an anonymous threatening text message that said, 'Warning, violating Wisconsin statutes 12.13 and 6.18 may result in fines up to $10,000 or 3.5 years in prison. Don't vote in a state where you're not eligible. Stop to end,' is the text message, and you can see that right here. Warning, violating Wisconsin statutes will mean you're going to jail, buddy boy." So they got that letter, and they're not happy about it. They said, "Without prompt investigation and action, the sender may continue its efforts to frighten eligible young voters into not voting." That text message is going to scare someone? Don't vote in a state where you're not eligible. Well, if it's illegal, you shouldn't. It's just a nice little public service message. I don't know what's so scary about that. Are the youth of America freaked out? The League of Women Voters, footnote 1, they say, "We're a nonpartisan, grassroots political organization that advocates for informed and active participation in the government." Go to their website, okay? They're like, the abortion people. "The League believes that our democracy is strongest when every voice is heard, and in furtherance of this mission, it educates and encourages all eligible voters to register and to exercise their right to vote." Now, the League of Women Voters strongly urges the DOJ and Wisconsin to investigate and identify the source of the messages. I'd like all the messages to go away, actually. They should investigate every one of them. And the text message senders should be deported with the rest of them. Now, all and promptly take appropriate enforcement action against the perpetrators in order to protect Wisconsin voters. Now, through reports from recipients, we have learned that on October 10th, 2024, the text message was widely distributed across Wisconsin. The text looked like this, and multiple young people are now in trauma centers with PTSD. The sender targeted young voters aged 18 to 25, including young staff members of the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin. Some people on their staff. "I'm freaked out. What do we do?" And reached many voters who were part of the University of Wisconsin system. Students who live and attend college in Wisconsin are allowed to choose whether to register to vote with their school address or their home address. But now many students and other young voters are fearful that they're going to face criminal prosecution if they register and exercise their right to vote because of a malicious, inaccurate text sent by an anonymous party. It didn't say that they're not allowed to vote. It just said, make sure you're properly registered. Don't vote in a state where you're not eligible, right? That's it. It's not threatening them with anything or even targeting them. It's just a general text going out to everybody. Federal law and Wisconsin law prohibit voter intimidation. Oh, here we go. You can't intimidate or threaten or do anything to anybody. Wisconsin also has a similar law that says don't harass our snowflake interns. That the messages were sent via text do not make them any less threatening or less unlawful. There was another case that found robocalls to dissuade black voters from voting by mail were intimidating, threatening, and coercive by warning of several specific and foreboding consequences of voting by mail, including negative and criminal legal consequences. Now, the technology has made the message even more dangerous, says the League, as the sender was able to intimidate thousands of voters in a short period of time. And though the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin is undertaking swift action, they're probably putting on their jumpsuits and flying off into democracy to attempt to reach young voters in the state and to correct the disinformation in the text at significant cost, going to cost our get out the vote efforts. It's likely going to be impossible to identify, reach, and reassure all the recipients. And so they're upset about this. Courtney and John and Ben Clements is the chairman and senior legal advisor. Courtney's the legal director, right? So it's like mostly dudes over there, the League of Women Voters, or maybe they identify. I don't know how they identify. So I take it back. Got to be careful. All right. Now, parties that commit voter intimidation should not be allowed to be hiding behind technology or benefit from the anonymity of texting. We urge your offices to promptly and thoroughly investigate these texts, make public the identity of the party or the party's parties responsible for disseminating these texts and take appropriate enforcement action against the perpetrators. Sincerely, these two dudes from the League of Women Voters in Wisconsin. So they got traumatized by some mass texts and they want repercussions for that. So I guess Merrick Garland should maybe raid Verizon and figure out what's going on. But Democrats are also going after the old voters. You may have seen this. Jimmy Carter, who's now 100, celebrated his birthday on October 1st. Guess what? Good news, America. He's out there voting for Kamala Harris. He's the longest living president in U.S. history. And he's been in hospice on the verge of death for over a year now. And he's out there voting for Harris.
Former President Jimmy Carter has fulfilled his wish to cast his vote in this year's presidential race. Carter, who just turned 100 2 weeks ago, submitted an absentee ballot that was deposited in a drop box near his home in Plains. His grandson Jason had said that Carter couldn't wait to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and those were actually good pictures of him from, I don't know, probably 20, 30 years ago. He's looking pretty rough out there. This was from his birthday. And so this is what the Democrats are doing. He went and voted, totally cognizant of what's happening. And that was him on October 1st. There he is, celebrating with his family. There he is, looking at the airplane. All right, so, we're all going to get there, right? We all age and the clock comes for us all. The bell tolls for thee. And the interesting thing here is it's not just Jimmy Carter. It's many, many seniors across America. And we love our seniors. And we don't appreciate when they're exploited and taken advantage of by people who are just using them as empty meat sacks and voter registration forms, like was happening here.
Okay, Grandma, do you want to vote for the first black woman president ever? Yeah. Okay, she's a Democrat too. Okay, so I'll show you where to write. Keep the pen in your hand, and it's right here. Good job, Grandma.
Nailed it.
You got to vote for the first woman president.
Wow.
Harris. Kamala Harris.
Okay, and it just breaks my heart. What a sweet lady. What a sweet grandma. Voting however daughter wants her to vote, or whoever that person is. Put it right in the back. Ship it off. All right, so here's Kamala. And she was outside of an airplane, very happy that she's got grannies all across America voting for her.
And maybe hesitant to vote for you because you're a woman?
Let me first say that I'm very proud to have the support of former President Barack Obama. And I think that the important point that I will make over and over again is I don't assume to have the votes of any demographic locked down.
Yeah, because she's struggling. And I guess Barack Obama and him lecturing black men across America wasn't very helpful. Here's another one from Kamala.
Do you think Donald Trump needs to take a cognitive test?
Well, I'm going to say what I have said publicly and will say many times based on my observations, and I think the observations of many. Donald Trump is increasingly unstable, and as has been said by the people who have worked closely with him, even when he was president, he's unfit to be president of the United States.
All right, so I guess that's where they're going with this. I don't know if that's going to work out well for him. So they're dragging out Crazy Eyes Griswold, and she came out, and here's what she said.
Talk to me about what your additional steps your office has taken to try to combat this misinformation. And are you more concerned about misinformation leading up to people casting their votes, or misinformation about what the voting says, what the results are?
We're concerned about all types of election disinformation, specifically with deepfakes, which are AI-altered images or audio of candidates or officials. We, on top of just passing a law to regulate that, have gone through disaster scenario trainings with our county election officials and have response plans in place as deepfaked information about the electoral process.
Oh, wait, they're doing emergency preparedness plans in case somebody does a deep fake of Crazy Eyes Griswold?
Electoral process. Disinformation is just so damaging to our electoral process. And make no mistake, one of Donald Trump and the MAGA right's aims is to push out election disinformation, to confuse folks.
Like what?
It has been used as a basis to suppress the vote.
What?
It has been used to incite threats to election workers and to our election systems.
That's criminal.
And it's so important that we push back on the lies, but also that we have clear consequences to anybody who would try to undermine the electoral process for their own political gain or because of disinformation.
Wow, she wants consequences for anybody who's putting out misinformation or disinformation. You know how you rebut that? Just with information. It's called free speech. You just have an explanation and just respond to it. But they want penalties for anybody who doesn't automatically fall in line with their fake narrative. Meanwhile, I can't believe MSNBC played this. This This is a red county in Arizona called Mohave County. And this guy went around and was explaining this. He was walking around Kingman, Arizona. It's a beautiful county right on the way to Las Vegas. Drive right through it. And they went out there, and apparently they're talking to people in this county. What's curious about this is I would expect this in this county, but I don't know why MSNBC went out there in particular and then actually aired this segment. It feels like it's deflating to their audience. Like they should come here and go to Coconino County, or they should go down to Pima County on MSNBC and hang out in Tucson, or go up to Flagstaff and hang out with the Democrats there. But to go to Mohave and then air this, it's interesting. I'm not sure why they did that.
And you should note, we did not find a single person who audibly would tell us that they voted for Kamala Harris. These were Trump supporters getting out to vote early in the all-important Mohave County. Take a listen to some of our conversations.
Well, the difference is going to be that everybody's coming out early, and everybody that we talked to has made a special effort this year to vote. And you can see it here in the parking lot. You know, this library usually got 5 cars in it. There's a ton of cars in it now.
Said you voted early for the first time.
For the first time.
Why did you vote early this year?
Honestly, because Donald Trump told me to.
What a good answer.
He keeps saying it, and I've been thinking about it, and so here I am.
We met one man who did not vote in 2020, but he said he was horrified by the state of the country, so he is voting here in 2024. We met 3 other voters, one that moved from California, one that moved from Oregon, blue states, who said that they moved here and were eager to vote in a state where Donald difference. And so it's those types of voters that not only Republicans are watching come to the polls, but also Democrats have a close eye, understanding that they need to really win the Maricopa County area to make up for any potential juicing of turnout here among the MAGA faithful in places like Mohave County, Jose.
All right, so it is crunch time, my friends. The election is just a few short days away, and you probably have gotten your ballots or are getting your ballots, and it's time to turn those in.